Hey, it's Mr. E, and our aim for this video is how do we solve problems that involve multiplication and division of rationals. And the aim is basically to do this with algebraic expressions in the rationals. So here's a warm-up without algebraic expressions. So perform the indicated operations. So you are multiplying these fractions, and then you are taking the result of that and dividing it by another fraction. Alright, so what you want to do is just turn it all into multiplication. So how do we do that? Well, we're going to get rid of the division symbol, and we're going to make that multiplication. And we are going to flip 8 over 7. And so we get this. Now it's just all multiplication. Can we cancel out anything? Yes, we can. This 8 can cancel out with this 8. Remember, you can only cancel out top to bottom or bottom to top. You can't cancel out top with top. Just in case you think about it in a different context. So now you just multiply across. So 4 times 7 is what? That's 28. 5 times 9, that's 45. Can we reduce that? No, we cannot. So our final answer is 28 over 45. All right, now the main event. Perform the indicated operations and simplify completely. So you think this looks complicated, don't you? Well, you are going to be able to do this by the end of this video. All right, look, essentially what's going on here? Well, we got multiplication and we got division, just like in the do now. Multiplication of fractions and then division of fractions. So let's make it all multiplication. Let's get rid of the division symbol, and let's flip this fraction to make it all multiplication. There we go. Now it's all just multiplication. Now what's the next step? Do I just multiply across? And well, it's a little different with algebraic expressions. With algebraic expressions, you want to factor everything that can be factored first before you get to the multiplication part. All right, so pretty much everything here can be factored. So let's begin with this numerator here. Let's begin by factoring this. So I'm just gonna write that down here because I'm gonna need some room to factor that. So how do we factor this? Well, we know we can use factoring by grouping here, all right? We've covered this in our review factoring video. We're gonna split it down the middle. We're going to factor the left side, and we're going to factor the right side by factoring out the greatest common factor. So we get this. Whoops, I didn't want that yet. So here's what we get, right? When we factor the left side, we get this here, and when we factor the right side, we get this. Now you group, so you get x squared plus 6 and x minus 3, right? Essentially what you're doing here is you're making this into one binomial, and then you're just grouping the coefficients. Okay, so that took a while. Hopefully the other ones won't take as long. I mean, it doesn't really matter, alright? It's not about time. Alright, now let's factor out a 2 here. So let me just write that. So we got 2x minus 4. So let's factor that. We gotta use GCS. So we're gonna factor out a 2, and we get 2 times x minus 2. Now let's factor 16 minus x squared. So I'm going to write 16 minus x squared. So what is this? Well, this is just a difference of perfect squares, but the x squared is negative here. So what I could do is just factor it the way I would normally factor it when x squared is positive, but just factor out a negative 1. That's all. Now let's factor x squared minus 4x, and that's the GCF. So the GCF is x, so we get x times x minus 4. Now let's factor x to the 4th minus 3x to the 3rd. That's GCF again. Factor out x to the 3rd. And then finally x squared plus 2x minus 8 we are now going to factor. And that's going to be just double bubble. Has to two numbers that multiply to c and add up to b. So we're looking at x plus 4 times x minus 2. All right. So there, I factored everything that can be factored. Let me get rid of this here. Now what? Well, what you want to do now is you want to rewrite the problem, but this time with the factors. So let's go ahead and do that. There it is. So I just rewrote it, but in factored form. Okay. Okay, so now you can cancel out. Whoops, didn't want to get to that yet. So let's start canceling out. What could cancel out? Well, I can cancel out an x plus 4 with an x plus 4. Remember, you can only cancel out top to bottom or bottom to top. I can cancel out this x minus 4 with this x minus 4. I can cancel out this x minus 2 with this x minus 2. I could cancel out this x minus 3 with this x minus 3. Is there anything else I can cancel out? Nope, that's it. So I'm basically left with x squared plus 6 times 2 times negative 1 on the numerator. And I'm left with x here times x to the 3rd. So what do we get? We get negative 2 times x squared plus 6 over x to the 4th. Alright, so let me show you what I just basically did. 2 times negative 1 is negative 2, and then it's just negative 2 times x squared plus 6. You don't have to distribute this. And then x times x to the 3rd is x to the 4th. So this is our final answer. Alright, I do hope this video helps. Let me see if I could give you the big picture here. Yes, I can. Alright, hope this video helps. Take care. Mr. E, signing off. Peace.